The views expressed by our guests in the following video are solely the opinions of our guests and do not necessarily reflect the views and or opinions of the Ola 7 podcast show. Viewer discretion is advised.
Gawedaka. Anzi ndakusuwa mudiwa. Sanike gawedaka guys, msantariseka. Msantariseka msuruza song rara windi president.
It's not even about this. It's not about the song.
Gawedaka. Excuse me.
No, I know the song, but
mudiwa.
I'll tell you. It's just unslaughter monzo my songs I love. No. My wife is not happy.
You have a wife? Did you not say last week?
And
did you not say last week that you are sworn against marriage? You're not going to get married?
Inene.
Even do about me bed rape you. I don't want to get married.
What conversation was that?
Wow. All right. Anyway, your wife are
play. Papa. Tammy tokumbroti so that part. Yeah, right.
I don't know. Whatever you're going to play, that should be AI. I didn't say anything like that. My wife saw some comments of some ladies. I tried to explain they're just fans of a podcast. But then she said no. There should be something, you should know something about it. There are comments, and I want to thank you. All the ladies were saying the nice things. I saw some other comments saying, I like a voice rababa. And then I said, hi, kunemunu yeye. Bazo pindura chiti, hii baba chi. As a fan, my wife,
did not
Dr.
like
Amai did not like that.
Public platform, money 1 weekend.
Hazvikusekesa.
Murova sanctions.
Hazvikusekesa.
Hazvinorwadza.
Oh, shame, man. Anyway. Ndinoda play that song ramuruguramba inangwa ndobhadhara YouTube saka mundiregera. But after this I'm going to pay. YouTube rutondijera nema adverts chichakadaro guys. But do you guys pay for your YouTube?
No.
Who pays for their YouTube? I have a cousin now. I have a cousin. Like they stay in Malaysia, but then when they came home, they were like, unema Ev.
Why is it?
Fire me.
Dirimu studio. Dakusu. You don't know the song?
I know. I know most of the Windy President songs, but I'm saying in this moment, I'm not listening to.
Daka.
Are we even doing what the report? How the report it is?
Ish, na joining him salad.
I was saying song on Ditori Muchikinewe.
Ditori Muchikinewe.
But
no, it's been really cold. Yesterday at my house, I won't mention where I live. You're close
to her.
Kokanaya boys. TV.
All right.
Because my son, he said something. I remember he walked in the house and he's like, I think it's going to rain today. So I didn't want to like tell him, no, mvura ingunaya, shinima seasons. You understand?
Yeah,
so then I told him, you understand? Lo and behold, 2 hours later, it actually did start raining. So it's been really cold. Dokumbiro vanava cheche nema 90s. Mungopeka zvinotsi.
Vana va 90s.
Chemberedza kuma 90s mo.
Nevana vacheche. Like 2 groups who are very vulnerable.
Chemberedza kuma 90s. By the way, talking about Chemberedza kuma 90s. I'm not saying
ndati vanhu kuma 90s.
Pa team rangu kuma 90s all right. Muswe Sand is a special day.
What's happening?
Birthday ra boss. Which boss? 16 August. Owen Madondo was born.
Oh wow! Like way to make me feel bad. What do you do when you open spete bore? What do you say?
Boss, also did you? Birthday boss really just 3 months ahead of mine.
That's weird.
It's very close.
You're weird. Urudachi uda boss, right?
No, I've always liked my boss. You see, I want to tell you. Ndimkoma kwandiri. You know, like my career kuti ndiswe even ku radio show yandrugita ku radio nasi ndani about 6 years ndichiita kuti nditange kuita ndo show yavaisimboita and then vavarwara nemusoro for some while back then. I think it was just after COVID or somewhere there, and then he couldn't attend his shows as often as he did. He was like, I'm fana mfana. I think he can fill in my shoes, and he suggested to the bosses of radio, and then Dova show pabo.
Yeah. Anyway,
shout out to the boss.
On to the next. So last week, when we started the show, we started it with Daka from Julius Praga. Yeah. And we mentioned how it was such a good song. So I didn't want to appear like I'm not in the know. So fair. And I'm going to so ndichingo buda muno ndakabva ndati ndichipfura pamusika ndingonzwa song iri kurira shamwari ndapinda mupi song iri kurira. In fact, there was a place here and I think it was a barber shop. That song was on repeat. That song iri kurira zvokudaro. And congratulations to Junior Spraga because Daka has reached 1 million views in just 8 days. So this beat the previous record that was set by Winky D with his song Mugadini. So congratulations to Junior Spraga.
Shout out.
I heard my little sister yesterday saying, Junior Praga is kind of cute, right? So it's just weird for me. I was like,
What is happening here?
So yeah, man. So that was one of the songs that was absolutely like it has people in the chokehold, and it's different age groups, but song. So this week, it started off on a very, very devastating note, and developments from the Lake Kariba, where the Mbuyane and ferry capsized while carrying passengers between Kariba communities. So we're still waiting for more news that is coming in, but waiting because it's just really devastating. Yesterday, by mistake, then I accidentally saw a video. I think a video and I was like, why would anyone post that? Do you understand? Warning caption but it was too late because sometimes gone out by Instagram like video player automatically and stuff. And it's just really, really devastating. So the ferry has reportedly been in service since in the 1980s and has served as an important link between Kariba urban and Kariba rural for decades. So this is particularly significant because the water transport is not simply an alternative mode of transport for communities around Lake Kariba. For residents, it is an essential connection to services and business and other parts of the district. So we want to rely on that ferry, like do mode of transport. So as the rescue operations continue, the tragedy raises several important questions because I think a lot of people are asking a lot of questions online, in the comment sections when all of this was going down. How old was the ferry? And was it still safe to operate? I think and as I mentioned, this has been operating since all of us in this room before we were born. So so inevitably the question is maintenance history, say structural condition, and had it gone safety checks, is it waterworthy, like kutakura wanu. And then I think another question that a lot of people were asking is how many people were on board. Because I think vanhu vakambotanga vachienda with carrying capacity. Kuti iyo pache zvayo inofanira kutakura vanhu vangani ndo yakambotanga iriyo. Then ma passengers ma numbers arungochinja umwe achiti they were way more.
Pane this video ndazona with another official confirming kuti zvonizvo there were about 153 passengers on that ferry. So pachinzi papo by the time I know video pambachinzi about 15 here do my bodies angawanikwa so far vamwe havasati vatowanikwa.
So there have been varying figures circulating regarding the number of passengers, and authorities need to provide a clear and verified passenger manifest so families can establish whether their loved ones are safe or not. There's actually a statement that I saw in Gega issue Aguti, until maybe the rescue operations, Vanaso Mega sure Aguti, everyone is rescued. Vanaso Mega sure. I think that's when we're going to get an official figure. Yaguti on board Yacho, Pamenge Panewan Wangani. And the people that were rescued, Vangani, and sadly, the people who perished, Vangani.
I think Pachani, it's especially with the way my numbers are showing, Bodaga. Tunogona kuita issue kuti pane vamwana vanogona kutozoshayiwa zvachose even vana because remember kuti pavano even mumabhazi muyamwe pane vamwe vana vasingabhadhari vasingapuwe matickets.
Yes.
Numbers evanhu vakadaro they can just go uncounted for because panenge pasina anything chinotrace back kuti zvanisho amai ava vanga vaine vana 3 vese vasina kana kuwana matickets. So
yeah.
And I'm not sure how things were, but it looks like it might not just be even vana ne vamwe vasiri kuaccountwa for, but kuti even vanhu vari kupinda vacho, because there's a video that also circulated on the internet before the ferry capsized, and ranga richiri kuita kunge riri kutorwa nemawaves richita sei vanhu vachidedzera from the conversation yakaitwa ipapo. It might look like makwirirwo anoitwa mabhazi emushika-shika ayaya.
Okay.
Because the conversation yaitika ipapo with the guys, pane akazoti haisi nyaya yekuti ratakura here. And then one of the other guys angaripo, maybe angari familiar, matauro ita ari familiar with what was going on. Akati harina charakatakura here, harina kutakura. Meaning sometimes it gets overloaded to that point, and usually on transportations that get overloaded to that point, you might not be able to keep a track and putting a passenger manifest where we know kuti makapinda vanhu vangani. Rasiyane maybe transport inenge a mass manifest kuti kuziva kuti makwira vanhu vakawanda, so bhuku rematickets ndeiri,
matickets inenge itori nemaseats kuti mune muchiziva kuti museats ari munomi 40
and angakafilwa.
Yes. Whereas now a ferry where people are just standing, like it's then difficult. Then another question, I think this was the most common question that a lot of people are asking is, were the passengers provided with life jackets? So this is one of the key questions, where were there enough functional jackets and other emergency equipment on board, and where the passengers were instructed on the emergency? Because you know, if you're getting into a plane or if you're getting into a boat or any such panotomboita munhu uya anotombomira pamberi penyu anokuudzai kuti should an emergency occur, even mubhazi chaimo. I know if you're going long distance or even just general, ndoziva kuti mabhazi unotoudzwa kunzi kana pakaitika ningirini emergency exit yedu iri uku, kana pakadai kana padai, kana uri mundege zvinonzi there's a life jacket under your seat, what, you're given those instructions. So the question is, were these people instructed kuti should there be an emergency, what are the protocols, like what are the measures that the passengers need to take? And then a lot of people, I think they just assume kuti kana munhu ari pa ferry anofanira kunge akapfeka a life jacket. So I then wanted to just find out kuti typically around the world, like what's the procedure kana munhu achipinda muferry and all of that stuff. So passengers generally do not wear life jackets during a trip. Instead, life jackets are safely stored in a designated overhead compartments, lockers, or under the seats, and are only distributed by crew if an emergency evacuation is called. So that's what's supposed to happen. So typically, vanhu vanenge vasina kupfeka ma life jacket, but there should be a provision for each and every single passenger that's there, so that should there be an emergency, vanokwanisa kupiwa ma life jackets. And I don't think this was the situation.
So to say something like, if the carrying capacity of the ferry is 90 people, there should be set aside 90 life jackets in a case of emergency. Or maybe
just slightly more.
All right. Just in a case of emergency. All right.
All right. So the next question is, what caused the ferry to capsize? So reports have pointed to strong waves, but the exact cause must be established through the proper investigation, which we did mention, Guti. I think right now they're still trying to gather a lot of facts. They're still trying to account for the people that were on the boat. They're still trying to, recovery and all of that. So I think we'll only know, Kuti, what caused the capsizing of the boat. Was it weather conditions alone? Was it a mechanical failure, overloading, poor maintenance? What were some of the factors that caused this boat to overload?
All right, so there's this other video that I watched with two guys by Tower. There's a wave here,
The Binga wave, yeah.
The Binga wave.
Yeah.
Like, I think the signs were there, but maybe we can just sail through Toenda. And then also, one of the survivors, I tell Rafuti on this other video that I watched by ZBC online, they noticed water seeping into the ferry 30 minutes after Baba Pahab.
Okay.
30 minutes meaning kuti vanga vasatotomboenda kure.
Yeah.
Because boat arifambe mafambira ntamota kuti pa 30 minutes anenge ato kudombosha 30 minutes ndobva vatoudza ma captains kuti zvonizvo pane mvura chichi and vabva vango ignore. So imagine kuti zvonizvo ma signs anga aripo akatowanda aionekwa nevanhu, but
I think it's really sad, Kuti. Social media has got a lot of advantages like Rwanda, where we have social media. But it's also sad in situations like this, because I think there's a video that I saw when the boat was leaving. Like all those people, wakabata mwana, wakabata bapegi, wakabata chi. Like imagine you're just thinking, okay, this is a routine, traveling from point A to point B, not knowing, Kuti, this is your last journey that you're ever going to take. And it's just really, really sad. And I just hope indrongona matrama families vanu varaskirwa at this point, Kuti, they will be okay during this time. And I think more questions then come up. Who is responsible for the safety of the vessel? Kuti, what authority is responsible? Do you understand? Kuti, fine, boatmen anongononge aka, jamba to my regulations, I say. But who's responsible for ensuring that these boats are safe? For ensuring kuti my boats ayanangachirana the way that they're supposed to run? And could this have been a preventable tragedy? And now what happens to the survivor and the families? And what needs to change after this tragedy? This should not end in the recovery operation. If investigation finds safety failures, there must be accountability and urgent measures to ensure that people who depend on Lake Kariba for transport are not exposed to such avoidable risks. You understand? Yeah. I think someone also mentioned, Guti, in other countries, Panto nema boats, like my speed boats, for such circumstances. Eguti vakatongoona ti a boat down or whatever, panoto deploy my speed boats. Eguti in an instant, vanenge vatoshika where whatever the accident would have occurred. And then these speed boats are also equipped with people that know how to do the proper life-saving measures. Eguti vanhu vasaraskirwa noupenyu. Do you understand? So then a lot of questions were then asked, Kuti, isusu as a country, like, are we equipped with these sort of things? Or is this something that now needs to be heavily looked into?
So it is a highlight. This tragedy should also be taken as a highlight, not only of the water transport system in Zimbabwe, but the whole transport system in Zimbabwe. Because whatever was happening with this ferry is something that we see on our roads, in our neighborhoods, and on the major roads almost on a daily basis. Panofamba makombi kuti unyazo not haisi roadworthy inogona itonge ichapazika iri muroad, so itonge ikangowanda vanhu itonge yafuta kudai itonge ichapaduka. We have seen buses
vanenge vari 80
vanenge vari 80 vachienda ari marata iwa yakakwatanuka. Pane mabhazi anotakura vanhu kuenda long distances kumamisha mukati yekuti unyazo apa anenge ari overloaded and stuff. So this is an indication zvazoitika hazvo kuti yaita tsaona and taakuchema, but I think we have been seeing this tichizviregerera zvichienderera, and there need to be measures dzinofanirwa kuitwa on all the transport system across the board kuti pange pachichengetedzwa zvinhu zviri kutakura vanhu zvitombori worth here, kutakura poiswa mitemo iri strict chaiyo zvoenda futi paresponsibility yeavo vari in charge of these forms of transport. Ndataura nyaya mumaroads handiti kwete yemumvura chete. Mumaroads macho imomomo pane private players ekuti transport haisi yegovernment, transport yaMr Dobie kombis handiti. Ndinosiya zen'e rangu randanyatsoona kuti irapera iri randikuti pamba chinhu ndinonodedza welda kuti auya achinama mumakona and then tuma driver kuti pinda muroad and anotakura kuti mari yangu ndiri kuida nhasi. I think we need to put some thought into that.
Yeah, also issue yekuti zvanizvo makambopinda mumota inenge chimhanya kana kombi yekuti inenge chimhanya zvekuti vanhu vese vanonyarara kuti zi kana kuti pobe pangoita munhu wana anongotaura kuti zvanizvo mamhanyira mukuita haasiriwo
ambuya kana zvinetsa budai
unonzwa driver akuti zvanizvo so you think kuti nini handitorinawo mhuri tingotaura kuti
do you know this happened to me last week. I had an event in Bulawayo, right? Then I was coming from Mutare, so I was tired, so I think Buddha, I wanted to catch the 8 o'clock bus. So I knew if I catch the 8 o'clock bus, Mblayo na 1 o'clock, right? So I get there, I think Makore 8:15. Then I was like, let me find an alternative bus. Maybe kunera 9 o'clock. Ndovanda kwira karaina nokurokureria. Abandanda to end up a website. Ndishtoona chichona website yawakanaka cha inda pazandataura stara. Anyway, ndovanda enda mu bus mea. Ndovatapinda zvakanzi exactly 9 o'clock rinopfurira ichienda kuVic Falls. Zvakanzi exactly 9 o'clock totatse tikubuda. Ndovatapinda. So this bus raimira richitakura vanhu. Saka rakamira pa Warren Park, rakamira kuwadzana, like along. Then tasvika munoton. I think takazosvika munoton ndofunga kuma 11. So me I'm like Then I was like, it's okay. Ndovatatanga kakufamba. So this bus in Dorara, that's my thing, right? Then people were complaining because I think it was around 2 o'clock now, and then people were like, "Hey, driver, wachina school manya? Hey, chichi, stingeti kwatuta kwenda. Show ngafambe msikiste like vanu washito complain. Do you understand?" Then I remember even taking out my phone because I wanted to book another bus because I was like, it's a loss, it's okay. But in the event, so let me book another bus. And then kuti ndibuka another bus ranga chishika mugweru na 2 o'clock apa isi tiri mukwekwe na past 1 so we're not going to make it to Gweru at the speed that the driver was going. Apa driver washina anga kamomesa gotsi anatomboterera zvinzi imi manya ikani, he never did. And I realized kuti it's people that cocks like ndo chovera these people because vanenge vachiti tine targets tine machi tikufanonoda needless to say ayo ndakasvika Mbulawayo na 5 o'clock.
5 o'clock. Vana 8 Maxon.
Vana 9 ndakasvika Mbulawayo na 5 o'clock. Ndakaitweko na promote.
Yeah.
Do you understand what I mean? And there was a time when I was so angry because I was like, but boy. Then when I really just and I thought about it and I was like, you know what? The reason why I'd rather pay $40 to get to Bulawayo is because anditodi like I don't like that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So isuzu as humans we're not appreciative when someone is going within the speed limit. Kuti 80 yachona ne 68 yachona yakataurwa nemutemo yacho. Atitodi tension kuti munhu asvike mu 120 mu 140 mom.
On there just a quick one as we go. There's also
5 vakazotipisa.
Papa 5 because that's where I wanted to comment kuti there's need for balance even in the speeds because the slower you go you also put
a risk.
You put a risk for those drivers who are moving in the speed limit because some highways in Zimbabwe who say speed limit in the highway is 120 and when you move at 60 which is half the speed limit urikutiisa munjodzi sisi tiri kufamba nespeed chaiyo iri kudiwa.
All right, so we're going to come back. We're going to talk about Thomas Mapfumo and the drama. When we come back from this, stay tuned. All right, welcome back to the show. So, today we have a very special guest, and we're going to be talking about intersex rights in Zimbabwe. So, with us here is Paida Saurombe, who's a lawyer and also a board chairperson of Rare Disorders Zimbabwe. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, and hi guys.
All right, so maybe you can start by telling us intersex, like what does it mean? Or maybe, I don't know, you can just get into that for us.
All right, thank you so much. Maybe to put you into perspective and give you the meaning of intersex. Last year, it so happened that I went to court, Korotendro. I had gone for some other case. So whilst I was sitting in court, prisoners vanopfeka hembe dzekujeri. So vakadzi vanopfeka pink and varume vakupfeka orange. So whilst I was sitting in court, this person comes in. It was a prisoner. Vakadzi vanopfeka madress kujeri, havapfeki matrousers. But this person comes into court anga akapfeka trousers, but really pink and a shirt. So it confused me. What's happening? Yeah. Why is this person wearing a trousers and a shirt, but really pink? Change my uniform. But as I was looking at this person, I got confused. I really could not tell which is which.
Okay.
Still, when this person started talking.
All right.
I got further confused. What is really happening? So after court, I then asked my prison guards, what's really happening? Because this person was in the custody of female prison officers. But when you look at them, you could want to say, Asimurume. But at the same time, yeah, so I was just confused. So I followed Kurai because I really wanted to check what's happening. I went to Kurai and had this person was being held in the female prison, but in isolation. And I asked why, and they said this person is an intersex. So prisons had struggled. And by intersex, this person had two organs. They had the male organ and the female organ. Pamunwan. So when this person unfortunately went in conflict with the law, male section, they can get abused because the female part is there, and you cannot put muneshkadzi kuvarume, especially varume vagarisa mjeri. It's a disaster. True, yeah. And kumuendesa futi kuvarume, it was also kuvakadzi, it was also going to be a problem. You are putting in a person with a male organ with females, mujeri. So they ended up deciding kumisa in isolation because anga in my parties. So I had a discussion with this person, and this person told me a very sad story. Akazvarwa akadaro. It was not a choice. Both parts are now. And usually what then happens is, because wazvarwa wakadaro, in the family, it's confusion. Unogona unzi vamwe vanonga vachiti uri murume, vamwe voti mukadzi, and hazvisi clear. Pamunoenda kumabirth chaiko vamwe vacho inonga iri confusion, vamwe vanoguma vaasainwa kunzi uyu murume kana kuti uyu mukadzi, but at the same time paari kukura, because munogona kuassign at birth.
Yeah. But then as they grow, there's going to be a dominant gender.
A dominant gender. So unogona kunga wakanzi uri murume, and you start having your normal period. Iwe wakanyorwa kunzi male. Unogona kunga wakanzi uri mukadzi, ndebvu dzakubuda, voice rakubuda, and things start happening in your body. Male things start happening. So that's an intersex person, basically.
You all right? Yeah, that's very, very interesting. Sad, tragic, but also very interesting. So there's a landmark case before the High Court right now. What exactly are the applicants asking for in court?
All right, so the applicants are asking exactly what we have been discussing. What they are saying, and it's not the first case we have had. We have had a case before that was in the Blawayo High Court,
were an intersex person, they were births and birth registration, they were refusing passport office kumpa passport because angar kuyenda achipresenta as female, but features were showing kuti it's male, so they were refusing. So as we have explained, kuti at birth, how then do you assign? So you find kuti most of intersex persons in Zimbabwe tinoguma tisina ku assigna and vanokura vasina proper documentation, so they just live life as they go. So this case that is currently before the courts, what is simply saying is kuti we need to deal with this as a country. We need to have legislation, we need to have mitemo, provider for these people, kuti how do we approach this situation? Because these are human beings. We can't just have a human being just growing, and most of the time they come from disadvantaged families. Saga avakwanisi kukaska vaitwa corrective surgeries and stuff. So muna anongokura zvichitoenda like this person andakasangana naye kucourt. Angati umunhu mukuru. Mari yange yashayikwa, coming in from a disadvantaged background. So anga kungorarama, no documentation. So the court was also struggling on how do you deal with a person without an identity. This person had committed a very minor offense that did not need them to be in jail. But the court could not deal with them because they really did not know kuti tikadila naye so because hana an identity. You can't deal with a person without an identity. Ko akayenda tumtsvagirepi, all those kind of things. So the late
previously and
exactly, because hapana any documentation. So the case that is before the High Court is trying to deal precisely with that. How do we deal, or how do we address this at the time of birth? Yes.
Okay. So Section 81, 1C of the Constitution guarantees that every child any birth certificate. So this person that you're talking about did not have any formal documentation on them. So how does the current law in Zimbabwe, how do they deal with this situation? Sometimes like what's really the situation on the ground?
Yeah. So the situation on the ground, I think that's why we are in this. It's mwanapa anozvarwa, my parents usually ndo anobva ati chakukuita murume kana kuti akukuita mukadzi. But iwewe pouri kukura, you then realize kuti handisi murume kana kuti hasi mukadzi. And kuti uzodzoka manje kumabirth waakutaura kuti inini makandiita murume but ndiri mukadzi. We then get entangled with issues that do not have to do with intersex. But taakudhila nema gender issues, taakudhila nema LGBTQI issues, and not ma intersex issues. Because pandichadzoka ndakuti nini ndiri mukadzi. Imagine just the embarrassment yekuti taakuda kutanga kumbobvisa hembe dignity yemunhu. And kuti uzviexplain, hatina that kind of understanding in our society. We have for a very long time shoved this issue. So I think it's a very, very important step that has been taken by government. Kuti tiuye kuti how then do we address this? Because it's a disorder. I have not chosen to have this disorder. Yeah.
So, my intersex, do they fall under the LGBT?
No, they don't fall under.
Shouldn't.
So what we need to understand is, ma intersex, we are dealing with biology, the biological makeup of a person.
Okay.
And when we then deal with LGBTQ issues, we are dealing with identity issues. We are dealing with personal preference issues. So we need, as a society, to understand kuti trikudilane at this stage with biology. At this stage, kwataro kutakudilane ma personal preferences, takudilane ma identity issues, because no gonna tori murume but tudakwa identify in another way. But with intersex, we are simply dealing with biology. It's the makeup of the person. They did not choose to be in that situation.
Okay.
So, Advocate, Butterfly mentioned and you responded to a landmark case which is before the courts right now regarding the issue that we're talking about intersex people. When was this case presented before the courts? How long has it been before the courts?
This case has been before the courts. If I'm not mistaken, it should be in 2024, thereabout. Okay. But as I've mentioned, there are other cases that have come before the courts where the courts had to intervene as well to say, "Ipaimunhu your passport. This person wanted to travel. Biological makeup irikurakidza kuti murume, but somehow mukati what was dominant were the female organs. So anga ari kuenda ichinopresenta as female, and because our society, even in authority, sometimes do not understand some of these things, so they were refusing kumupa those documentation. So those are some of the issues that are coming into play to say, how do we deal with this as a society? And our courts have clearly said, Kuti, there needs to be legislative intervention. That's why Makona, I think Minister Ziambi, and the meeting that was there last week when people were saying, Kuti, how do we deal with this issue?
All right. So there's also another issue of getting surgery too early. So let's say, for example, a baby is born and then my parents over to surgery, chichi over, I sign a yo. Is it then fair? Because like what you're saying, sometimes as you develop, as you get into puberty, you then realize, you need to identify more as a female or identify more as a male. So are there also measures that are being taken to ban non-consensual, non-essential surgeries on intersex minors?
Yes, I think what's being discussed is to cater for all those issues. And as you rightfully say, Kuti, sometimes you might assign too early and the body starts reacting otherwise. So it also needs medical intervention. Get proper advice medically before you just get into some of these things, or before you, do not be emotional about it, but it's an emotional issue anyway.
It is.
So it sometimes needs you to sit down and calm down before decisions are actually made. Get proper medical advice. Musati ma decide kuti munhu twama sign ukana twama sign, and do not also assign on your preference, because mogona assign because ndana mwana mskana baba waruti ndandoda mukomana, and you find kuti families even end up getting broken because of that. And you find kuti most of the situations with intersex people, especially in our communities, atizvinzwisisi saka togumata kuti akaroiwa roane shiri family to pumana, families get destroyed. But it's an issue that we need to address from a legal perspective and from how we do our laws in the country.
All right. So maybe, Paida, you can tell us, maybe in your perfect world, right? What kind of situation would you want to be a result from all of this that's happening for the intersex people? I know in Kenya, intersex people are now legally recognized as a third gender. And, other countries around the world, they have different things that they've done in order to sort of involve them in everyday life and all of that. In your perfect world, what would you like to happen?
I think the situation in Kenya is an ideal situation. At birth, let's assign a person intersex, right? And I really want to, because I've been seeing the comments on social media and the commentary. This is not about the LGBTQ rights and Jakasiana. Our people need to know that. So at birth, let us have, when we have such a situation, let us have that assignment. This is an intersex person. And let's also allow later on in life, if a person then decides to gender ndo iri dominant, akachinja, to also have that transition take place. Because usually togonoso kwasa ina intersex and so the rest of your life. But besides that, I think we also need to be intentional and deliberate in providing resources and funds from government level. Because the government ipindire in having some of these surgeries done. Because our people will be coming in from poor backgrounds, they don't know kuti zvofamba sei, and havana mari dzacho dzekuzviita, vanonga vangogara. The client yandiri kutaura yandakaenda kuchikuru akatoti ndakambopromiswa kunzi ndichaitwa that surgery mari dzikaramba. So that's why I've ended up in crime. Ndotsvaga kutorarama chaiko kwekuti ndidye every day. The family has abandoned me, ndoita sei. So we need that kind of intervention, be it from government, be it from society, to help these people maintain their dignity.
And also, kuma institutions like prisons, ma hospitals, ma officers edu or ma authorities are they adequately trained kuti vakwanise kudila nema issues iwayo? Because like you said, kuti zvonizvo kujere vakatomisa mu isolation. Is it case yekuti zvonizvo havana ruzivo nezvenyaya idzi here kana kuti? And also what needs to be done kuma institutions akadaro iwayo ekuti zvonizvo kunotangira maybe kuhospital kwacho pachazvarwa mwana o pachauya achida kurapwa munhu iyeye vanohendla sei, kuma prisons kwacho kuri kunzi apinda vanohendla sei, even musociety?
That's a very good question. So I think there needs to be adequate training. Remember that munhu yanga arogara ari mu isolation. When I got there, trust me, it was a spectacle even for other prisoners. They wanted to just see this person. And the situation was so bad that they ended up having to stay in that small room 24 hours. Aisada kubuda. Nechikafa ipiwa arimu because kubuda, it was a spectacle outside. Besides the officers, but the prisoners themselves. So society aisati yakabata this whole idea. So we need proper adequate training. As I've been saying, kuti training yacho inototangira from government, from authorities, kuma prisons, kuma hospital, because usually I think pane majokes anosotaurwa ekuti munhu akauya ari kurwara sei nezvirwere zvepabonde muhospital, unoona dzimwe nguva manesi ari kudaidzana uyaone icho wakambochiona here ichichi. So imagine a person coming in, vanonga vachidaidzana iwe kwaita shura kunoku, and dignity yemunhu iyeye really gets affected. But besides imagine the family that's surrounding this person. So we need adequate training how to deal. But besides that, even in some of our facilities, we then need facilities that can cater for this person. Because they've come in contact with the law, they end up being in prison. We can't keep them in isolation. It's dehumanizing. So let's create facilities as well. But nrukuti tisati tatosvika kuda create ma facilities, let's provide the adequate medical intervention. So that by the time munhu paachazoita in contact with the law, takutoziva kuti uyu murume mukadzi, and it won't be necessary to put them in some of these facilities or to create facilities, because we have done what needs to be done at the right time.
Thank you, Advocate. And I was thinking earlier on, you mentioned Minister Ziambi, right? And in line with that, the Justice Ministry is saying the Law Development Commission, together with support from UNDP, have been researching on this issue for quite some while now. Now, in the backdrop of that, I have 3 questions. Firstly, the first question would be, do we have the actual numbers to say we have so many recorded intersex people who have struggled, who have approached the courts with such issues? That's the first one. And then the second thing is, when we presented this case that we are now dubbing a landmark case, how was it presented to the courts? What are we really asking from the courts? What are we saying to the courts? And then lastly, if reform was going to be done, what would the reform then look like?
Thank you so much. Offhand, I don't have the actual number of intersex persons. So when you are dealing in my other life, when I'm called rare disorders Zimbabwe, we call rare disorders a 1 in a million kind of case.
Okay.
So it's not an everyday thing that you will have that kind of situation. But with intersex, just like so many of the rare disorders that happen in the country, you find that getting the actual stats sometimes becomes very difficult. Why? Because raitika kumusha, the next thing chatichaita, munhu remember hana shikwanisiro, hana birth certificate, hana chitupa. So getting the states themselves And because sometimes of our cultural beliefs, we rarely then get to account for most of these cases. Okay. So I believe we have a number, and if we then have, maybe going to your last question, the reform aspect of it, when we reform and we start recognizing these people and educating society, this is something that can happen and it's a biological issue, we can then account for so many of these people who are out there who haven't been taken care of and whose intervention is needed. So all those things. But in terms of my cases, I can call out about 3 or 4 cases that have come. But all other cases that have been coming, I think I mentioned the Blawayo case. It was a specific case, Nruda passport.
Yes.
And fortunately, they had the resources to do that. Okay. But the case before the High Court is a case that's then dealing with the general problem, with the bigger problem itself. Okay. And is asking for legislative intervention. So in this whole problem, let's not deal in a Butterphly Arkuya because animal resources. Let's not deal Nashali Ari1 because I'm sponsor. But let's address the situation as a whole, as a country, so that atina vanhu vanongo vachiuya 1-1 vamwe vachitadza kuuya because havana resources. So what the case is basically saying is kuti, let's deal with this situation, yes, as a whole, and let's see how do we approach this. Maybe an important thing is munhu akazvarwa aine a disorder, say dwarfism, right? We still assign them papers and everything. Munhu akazvarwa aine a disorder, say albinism, we still recognize those people as what? As a person. So we are saying intersex as well. These are also just people who need to be recognized, just like everyone else in society with any disorder you can find.
All right. So maybe in conclusion, I was just thinking about it as you started speaking, Kuti, had I been born with this condition, would I have been able to get to a point where I now have the pressure? I could decide, do I want to be male? Do I want to be female? Do you understand? Kuti, is there also an option? You know what? I just want to remain the way I am. Do you understand? Because I think as we're speaking, it's more, do you want to be this or do you want to be this? Or do you want to stay as you are? So maybe before you go, you can just advise, maybe there's someone watching right now who is part of the intersex community in Zimbabwe, or a parent of intersex children, or someone who's struggling with documentation or access to services right now. Maybe you can just give an all-encompassing advice and recommendations and all of that to somebody who's watching.
Thank you so much. I think my advice, first of all, is just to tell Zimbabweans, intersex people are human beings. They have to have their dignity respected and who they are. In terms of choosing, I think it's also very important. Everyone should have the right of choice to decide on who they want or kuti varida kunge ari chii mukati meupenyu. But what you would find in, I think, medical practitioners would then confirm this, and we have confirmed this during our engagements. You'd always then have an intersex person, because they've got two, they would have one dominant part. So when the dominance kwenunge yakarerekera ndokunongo kufana kuita sei kuenda. But in situations or cases where someone then says, I don't want any medical intervention, let's also be able to respect izvozvo, because these people did not choose kuzvarwa vakadaro, but vakazvarwa vakaita sei vakadaro. Just like muno nazvafamba sei kuti vataita tema webhega
mamda example yemutsvuku mubva mamushaya
ndashaya mutsvuku saka tinodecide ndazvarwa ndemutema ndazvarwa ndemutsvuku hatichuzi. Of course vamwe vanozochuza wakura kuti ndauda waibva hamwe ndakura ndauda kutsvuka. Nasana mbono vari kudecide kuti vauda kuita watema Makore, but
do you know what?
Yeah.
Come to think of it,
exactly.
I want to be a Black Beauty.
You see? So ndikuti patiri kuzvarwa hatichuzi ndozvarwa ndakadai so I remember when I was in high school ndaiwanza kuwanzirwa nemhine yangu kuti yakakura uri kutora mweya wangu wakati, but I did not choose to be who I am. So I love myself the way I am. And we are saying with intersexes as well, let's respect them. Kuti vafte fit in the society just the way they are. Hakusikuroiwa, but it's the biological make-up. Mune zvaitika in the biological make-up. Azvarwa akadaro. And mukuzvarwa adaro kwakaita where we need to then do interventions, let's do them and do them at the right time. But let them fit in the society.
All right, thank you so much.
And pane pamuri kumboita ma-engagements esamuri kuita kune vanenge vakatoroora here vane this disorder kune vakaroora here?
Yes.
Variko vanenge vakaita go through ma-medical
vanenge vakaitota go through these medical interventions and stuff. Of course, some of the times it comes up with its own complications. Imagine ndiri kutaura kumba kuti mai mwana ndandimbori mukadzi ndikaso kana ndandinazvo zvese. So it comes in with its own complications, which I think as a society, as we address this, we should also get to address some of the complications that will certainly come with it. When do you disclose? How do you... Should you disclose?
Yeah.
But iwewewo ndikazongoficha mumwe musi Butterphly ndokuti shainini nandrimka, you know, to the other parties, well, vane marights wo.
Plus, I think pane gender inogona kuzobatikana stereki. Isusu vakadzi tokononge tiri okay, but
I don't think I can be able to handle it after I get married and then my wife tells me I used to have a male organ.
No, but
it would be difficult. I would need counseling. Yes, but inini nepfungwa dzangu nemariro andakaitwa nekukura kwandakaita, I would need counseling kuti ndigwanise kunzoti ayo anga akazvarwa kadaro bva zvazodi, but it's something that would come as a shocker kwandiri. It's not something that would be easy. And I'm not speaking in isolation. I think if this was to be presented to other men, you'd find it's not that easy to accept it. Unotomborowa ne.
Saka ndopa to the education yakawanda. People really need to be informed.
Tikatanga kudzidziswa kuti unogona kuenda kunoroora munhu mutsvuku handitika wozoona chitupa chake kana mapictures ake kuti unoti kozvanga akaitwa then also pane imwe case munhu vandakanzwawo handiti ekuti vakazoasaina kuti uyu mukadzi handiti then vaita go through those medical interventions vaasiwa aine that part yemukadzi, but nekukura manje akabva mafeatures mamwe ese vaita murume ndobva azono nekukura paaita zvinezvi vanhu havacha mu-identify as totichi as a female. Akuiswa ku category LGBTQ.
Okay.
Ndosaka nandiri kuti as we deal with this, get proper medical advice. Have the tests done
before the surgery. And also before medical intervention. Remember, it's not just as simple as removing a part. The body has hormones. They'll start acting out. They'll start doing things. Ndebvu dzakubuda iwewe waenda the other direction. So when these interventions are done medically, they have ways to suppress some of these hormones and make sure kuti munhu abuda ari zvari. So I think we need to also make a distinction between someone who chooses, by the way, kuti inini ndiri murume ndochuza kuti ndauda kuita mukadzi. That's the totally different story altogether. Of course.
Ndakangokura ndine mapatsa angu echirume ndozongofunga kuti handichamadi, ndauda kubviswa, ndauda kuvhurwawo nditambe nana Butterphly. So it's a totally different story. About kutaura munhu akazvarwa ainazvo zviri two, and that medical intervention. And as I've said, they are always in most of these cases a dominant organ or a dominant part, a dominant side rinonga riripo.
All right, so that was Paida Saurombe, who's a lawyer and is also the board chairperson for the Rare Disorders Zimbabwe. And thank you so much for the work that you're doing, and thank you for educating us, even if it was just a little bit. We look forward to maybe you coming back on the show, Muchitipama updates, and also maybe you can just tell people, Kuti, is there a platform on social media where people can learn more about the rare disorders in Zimbabwe, or maybe in particular intersex?
Yes, sure. We do have a Facebook page, Rare Disorders Zimbabwe. If you just search that, we do have an Instagram, a Twitter page, and even a website, Rare Disorders Zimbabwe. You can go and learn. So besides intersex, there are also quite a number of other rare disorders, genes that have done what they have done, mwana kutanga kurwara nezvinhu zvamusirunzwisisa. So most of the time tinomhanya unoti mwana akaroiwa, mwana akadai also, but with proper testing and a proper investment, I think we can go a long way as a country in solving some of the things. And as we do that, we also create a very good database in seeing, because some of these things, mushaona kune zvirwere zvinoitika kuAfrica kunoku, kune zvirwere zvinoitika kuZimbabwe kunoku, kuno futi zvirwere dzimwe nguva zvinoti zvikaitika kana kuti some makeup, I'm trying to simplify this as possible, makeup magenes edu anogona to resista zvimwe zvirwere kupfuura zvimwe. So all that information, if we invest in these rare disorders, I think as a country we can do far much better, and we can go a distance in solving these issues. We also share, we usually have what we call a Rare Disorders Day in Zimbabwe, and we usually promote and ask people to come through. You will definitely meet people with rare disorders who come there. You can learn quite a lot about rare disorders.
So we're going to be back straight after this. Stay tuned. All right, we're back at it. Remember, I did tell you that we're going to talk about the drama. The drama that is currently going on with Thomas Mapfumo and Makore. I don't know his name. Kurai Makore. Yeah. All right, so this is my thing though. Before I get knee deep into this, like, all right, I know which my reaction is, right? But you're getting 1.5.
1.5 million.
No, I'm just saying. I know it's probably principle, but I'm just saying.
I think it's more about legacy, yeah?
But like, I'm too retired. It's like I'm saying Anyway, Chimurenga music legend Thomas Mapfumo has broken the silence over the ongoing dispute with his nephew Kurai Makore, after his company issued a cease and desist notice declaring that Makore is not authorized and has never been authorized to perform, record, stream, or commercially exploit any of his musical works. So Mapfumo described Makore as an arrogant, lazy, and lacking the composing talent that is needed to succeed. Saying that he has given him unfinished material, including a nearly completed song, Neta, that Makore never worked on. He also revealed that Makore once called him asking to change his surname to Mapfumo. And Thomas was like, no. He shut the idea down immediately. So the name belongs to the stepfather who raised him, right? So, yeah, I guess I can understand where he's coming from. So Mapfumo also blamed the fallout partly on Makore's handlers, singling out one associate, Nonzi Blessing Baba, as a bad influence. So he said that his catalog is an estate belonging to his wife and children, and noted that guitar, sax, drum, and conga parts of his recording belong to Blacks Unlimited band members too, who say they are also unhappy with Makore using their work. So he has raised concern that online searches for his name increasingly surface Makore's pictures. And this is like a threat to what he's building for his children. Imagine Googling your name. And then another man comes up.
Yeah.
Oh, all right. I think, all right. Yeah, I get where he's coming from. So anyway, despite the harsh words, Mafumo insisted that there's no bad blood and says that Makore remains family and he's open to sharing a stage with him, provided that Makore builds his own identity and starts performing Mafumo's music.
Inangu.
Iwako.
Ininangu.
Zvako pachako.
Ininangu. I think tamboshtaura.
Sechpoko.
Sechpoko. Mashoko ayakai samdara. Pane munhu ari behind.
Okay.
Because my videos akawanda achaiona Kurai achitomboperforma music yamudhara ivo varipo vachitonakirwa guys wozongomuka one day wobva wati zvonizvo chiregedza pane munhu atoripo
but zvinenge zvadzimba guys.
Chichadzimba.
Do you know there was a time when I know it's not the same. There was a time when people would call me Chamvari. So at first I was like, okay, like whatever, like we work together, like it's not that deep, right? But then the more like it will then happen, then you start thinking of all the things that you've done in life, like all the places that you've been, all your accomplishments, and then you start thinking, so my accomplishments I'm going to credit to that person. And even for her, like all her accomplishments, like she won a Nama, she's done all of this. So all those things, and then she's being called Butterfly, like, it doesn't make sense. And especially when I saw Spakawan, we venture, when I saw Rova, and then someone comes and says, you're my favorite, Champari. I love you so much.
So I'm also thinking, let me present you with a different situation. You have spoken about someone whom you're working alongside in the industry. How would you feel if your little sister over tanga kunzi because she looks so much like you, over tanga kunzi Butterfly? Would you feel the same that you would feel for a stranger, or it would be different?
I think the difference here is there has been a distinction. I in the whole my statement is sangachitwai, but it was distinction. This is a nephew. Do you understand?
But nephew wake mwana we muningina.
But it was distinction
because there's Dominic and Thomas.
Do you know where there's the distinction is? Panzi Joni, this music yandegaita is for my children and estate, right? Meaning where you're not in the line, like you're not, like you don't inherit any of the stuff. Like I don't consider you my child. Yes, you're my relative. Yes, you're a close relative at that. But naka inde vana vangu ne estate yangu ne mdzimai wangu. Do you understand? But it was distinction, because if there was not this distinction, this quote, I think that una say quote one ababa. Imimi msetonge ona singatereremi. Pamakanzi Joni anzi Joni this belongs to my wife, right? And ndipapokonda kunyepedzera kunge ndakazungera indava seko hanzi band foot rine stake because ndovanenge vakaridza ma-instruments and all of that stuff, right? Ndikupasha ndipapo pakanyorwa kunzi my wife. Yes, hanzi he said his catalog is an estate belonging to his wife and children. And then the guitar, sax and instrumentation and all of that stuff also belong to Black Unlimited Band, right? Their members, they also have a stake in this. So I think in this business setup, Makore is not recognized as a child in our cultural sense. He's just recognized as a relative, you understand? Because if he was recognized as a child, then he would be eager to...
Because, all right, panere watangambonzwa from vana vamudhara achinzonizvo akuitawo zvekuimba. aiwa zvine basa because tiri kuti zvonizvo at least kuraika ari kutosimudzira this tinoti
Chimurenga music.
Do you know where you're looking at it from? You're looking at it from an emotional, like African culture perspective.
No, but also looking.
Stories,
But tichitarisa zvebasa Butterfly. Tichitarisa zvebasa. Copyright
infringement.
Ghost Lady gave a good example. Yekuti ko pane here vana vamudhara vatinoziva vari kuperforma handiti kana zviri zvebasa the best person to keep the name Thomas Mapfumo going on playing on stage would be Kurai. Why? Because ndiye anonyatsogona kuimba kunge Mukanya. Saka kuti tirambe tichinzwa Mukanya ka tinofanira kupa Kurai Mukanya.
Guys, zvangofanana na Michael Jackson. Ina handisi kuside kwa anyone for the record.
Yeah.
Saka mnezo kata apa maybe up. Michael Jackson jayo. Who's performing his music after he's gone? He's got kids, he's got siblings, but who's performing his music? Until we just just saw Michael Jackson. Tungo tazama live performances ake. Tungo teraka music ake pa iTunes and what. Kana munhu aenda or a retire ka. That's it.
But
it's
then,
done. Why should the legacy continue? Unless if it's a situation yakaita say the legends, daughters of legends, yatakaita musunono. Yaguti, these are the children that are, kunonzita say that are carrying on legacy. And I feel like she needs.
So you were talking about Michael Jackson and performing, and you were talking about Michael Jackson and performing. Have you watched Michael?
The documentary.
The film,
the biopic.
The biopic, the new biopic.
No.
You haven't watched?
No.
The guy who played Michael and reenacting most of Michael's performances is Jafar. Who is Jafar Jackson? Jafar Jackson is a nephew to Michael.
Jafar
But this is the thing.
Nicolas Zakaria aita take over the bandage nation diani muzukuru wake.
It doesn't matter. Do you know why?
Matters.
No, do you know why it doesn't matter in this instant? Because madzibaba ngazina diri nazvo. Like ngazikarombodhipisa kusvika ikoko. He didn't mind. Do you understand? Kuti iwo madzibaba he wanted pamwana kwakasiya ataura kuti ngaite carry on. Or maybe it's a situation yekuti muzukuru yuko akatomboridza nawo vari vapenyu. Do you understand? And then unoziva pane something chamusina kuona. Ini nyaya iyi inototenda kuti ini handiterere tunonziti handiterere nyaya dzevanhu. You understand? So I'm looking at this from an objective point. Like andinakana emotion mukati because I'm looking at it from an outsider, right? Pane panzi zvoni mukomana uyu akapiwa song inonzi zvinonetsa, right? It was unfinished, right? Ranzi ndakukupa song iyi iwewe chita sei chipedzisa song unasoinaisa unasoita sei and then zviri kunzi hanzi Makore never worked on it. So zviri kuita unge maybe iye anoda kuita zvinhu zvinenge zvakashandwa kudhara and then he doesn't want to do his own thing.
Not necessarily. He has his own albums, 2 albums I think. Let me search. But he has his own music. Yanotoita iye independently. Let me check that. And also whilst I'm looking kutanima albums mangani, I'm also thinking
ane
3 albums, right?
Yes, ane rekutanga ranzi Gara Unzwe, which was 2021.
Right.
Then Ngoma Kurira 2024. Then Dzimwe Nguva in 2025.
In 2025.
So if he's got his own album, then I think it's okay. He'll be okay.
This is where I'm going.
He shouldn't be affected by being told to cease and desist because he's got his own stuff. So he should be okay.
I think Kurai is not having debate on social media and there's something that was said by Plot Marco. Shout out to the big brother. He said something and I thought there is great sense in this. The opening lines to his article, which he posted on Earground, said, "What's next for Kurai Makore? The current trending issue is given him something artists normally spend thousands of dollars trying to buy. What is that? Attention.
Yeah, okay.
Now he needs a product. He needs to elevate his own catalog because attention yato hapo even mwana ngosingazoti Kurai Makore ndiani watu pane munhu ari kunetsa namukanya izvi ndiani mwana womningino wake uya and everything. So it gives him a platform zvekuti izvezvi if he starts to work on I can't read the full article because it's a very long article that was written by Plot, but all he was saying is if Kurai looks at this in the right sense, he can actually take advantage of the wave and create something for himself that will put the name Kurai Makore asina kuzembera pa the name Mukanya.
Yes, because if Mukanya himself said that he he doesn't like the false heir narrative. Yagunzi, like he's the heir to, like, do you understand?
Yeah.
I think he actually mentioned it in the cease and desist yakanyora. Like he's not, guys, he's not. And you know the sad part is, from a business perspective, I understand. But from a family dynamic, it becomes complicated. It was like, you understand. But at the end of the day, it's a business. Do you get it? And what they don't understand is, I've been in the industry for, I think, 16 years. It's 16 years, yeah? So right now, I haven't even maybe I'm only now starting to reap all the hard work that
you've been working for all along.
Yeah, people don't know. I did a lot of free stuff. Do you understand? Transport makeup but you're like my shift do you understand? People don't realize, Guti, I am who I am now because there's a struggle, there's a road, there's a story. You understand? So Thomas, I think to some extent, Thomas, right? To some extent, it's like one of those, like you don't know what I had to go through. You don't know the discrimination, the risk, like you don't know everything that I had to go through to build this name that I've built. And then for someone to just come and say, Guti, Ndipe, do you get it?
But for Kurai, I think it's different. Madeza akatotanga. Zveku associate kana Mukanya, I think zvitori low than paakazi ngaakutonyatsorira. Because I remember in 2024 tinge takatombomuhosta. Ndopatikatonzwa chitoti zvonizvo, inini ndiri mwana wani waMukanya. Mukanya ndi mudhara chichi tasingatozvizive, but music yake yangaita se yaitowira kudhara. And zvese zvekuzoti zvonizvo he's lazy and ipapo I think pakazodhipiswa. That guy anga achishanda, guys. And anotoshanda, even ukaenda pamashows ake anotoshanda, this guy.
And I think you mentioned something which times someone is being on his behalf.
So
evil. Do you want to say?
No, I think
Taura. I want to give you a chance because I want to become humble.
You can't be humble, my friend.
Okay.
Butterfly can never be humble in this life. But anyway, but it's in relation to say
so I was saying that this is actually a quote from Thomas Mapfumo, right? Yes. There's a lot of hearsay information from people claiming to be close to me, speaking on my behalf, floating around due to recent events. I want to clarify that nobody speaks on my behalf. Relatives, his former staff, Uchichi, none of that. Official statements are from me and they'll be posted on my platforms. ... Thank you. That's what it is. So I don't know, guys. In Inihango, I feel like Kurai, I've heard a lot of good things about him. And I've heard that he's insanely talented. At the end of the day, I'm happy that he's building his own legacy, and I think he should continue to do that. Should he perform more, Thomas? It should be like as a bonus. You understand? Not kutindo pakato enka like his whole like stage. You understand? Kuti promoters power kutomuhaya, varikumuhaya because anozoti acha performa Thomas Mapfumo or acha nakidza vanhu because ari performa Thomas Mapfumo. You understand? So inini, I would wish for him to just continue working hard and doing what he knows how to do best. And all of that stuff. I think it goes the same with Vana. You know, there's a lot of kids. I'm not saying this about Kurai. Like I said, for me, it's nothing. Like
you're just commenting.
I'm just commenting. There's a lot of kids. This happens to a lot of sons. But a lot of sons vanenge kuchila kawanoita so. Do you understand? And then zvazodaro manje tomboti mudhara wacho navazofa, all right. Do you understand?
Entitlement.
You get it.
It was supposed to be mine.
So that mdara decide kuti hasikukusira, you be okay. Or decide kukusira, aiwaka one edited. Do you understand what I mean?
Yeah. Do you know the Maskiri song Kwedu Kuchafiwa?
No.
All right. Maskiri has a very old song called Kwedu Kuchafiwa. He's talking about this. He says, Ndijo mkoma wangu ruhara ndichatora mkazi. Ndijo baba wangu ruhara ndichatora mbeke extend. That entitlement that we usually have. But I think what Butterfly is saying makes a lot of sense. Let's put in the work if we can. And this goes out even to Mr. Kurai Makore. I think this is a great opportunity for you to grow.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
Yeah. So, I'm going to just hold the series. When did I get it, please?
You're always cautious about the series, right?
You know, such a fun.
I think so. Sister
Kurai Gakure. Ashike Makore.
But he's gonna be okay.
Kurai Gakure.
I'm now like, wait, I want to listen to his music. No one's watching. What is it?
With I enjoy more of him on stage. Yeah, the more I enjoy, like I think I've just attended 2 where Kurai was performing. It was on stage and he's good with his stage work.
Okay. So, speaking of people that are exceptionally good with their stage work, Feli Nandi is set to become the first female musician to attempt the fill-up HICC. So filling up the HICC requires 4,500 people. So the feat, job praise are achieved. Winky D has achieved multiple times. And now she is going to be the first female Zimbabwean musician to sort of attempt this feat. So the show is going to be happening this Friday from 6 p.m. So Baba Arad is going to be there, XQ, Tammy, Mwenje, Victor Kunonga, as well as Kurai, Makore.
Ladies and gentlemen.
And in total, band is also going to be there. Fusion 5 Mangwiro is also going to be performing at the event. You know, what I love about this is, like, music, like, lineup, it's music that's related. Do you understand? Like, I also need mood static. Do you understand? Kuti jeze jineka ku compliment even if it's different. Do you understand? Kuti jineka mega ka vibe. So I'm that. Sorry. Ndozothi nasi chitatu indato kuchina maskati echina ndikutotadzwa zvokupfeka wardrobe izvozvo kuti ndato mimi chiri Wednesday indato ku Friday indato ku show because I'm so excited.
You're excited.
It's going to be called A Night with Feli. It's going to be happening at 7 Arts. I'm lying.
It's good.
So this is growing from the Night with Feli series, which used to happen at the 7 Arts.
Yes.
And we're really excited for her. So to Feli Nandi, we say all the best to you on Friday.
Sure thing. Didn't you want to promise?
Matikete. Inini ndodare ku VVIP, right? So that ndakazodecide hangu kuenda uku. Ndechingoita move around, you know.
Ndanga ndichida kutoisa
kana uchida kunakidzwa neshow
enda
kwafeli.
Inini ndofarira ma-outfits.
marokwe
amenotandoitwa sei panenge achitidza ngoma pepe outfit inenge ichitamba babangu
inofarira pekuti zvonizvo wese utori padhuze and anopinda hake mucrowd ofamba mucrowd kana uri padhuze nestage soka unatsonzwa kuti right pane pamwe pandingamboenda kushow soka ndatongosumudzawo foni ndichida kuti ndatona fela
atoripo shawari guys. So it's really, and then she goes I don't even know how to do it. So, speaking of really successful events, we speak this upon you, Feli. The Hit Factory that happened at the Hippodrome, it happened over the weekend. The turnout was really, really good. People came in their numbers. Blood, Holy Ten, Saint Flo, Baga, Junior Spraga, Saint Flo, Windsor. And they also had surprise artists. And I think at some point, surprise So Nisha T and Volts were the surprise acts. So Hatipere, people might have issues with him here and there about other things. But in terms of pushing, I'm no pusher. Like I know pusher and he knows how to get people to speak about certain things. And rimwe gore so akanoswitcha one narrative one kusvika vanhu vakutoti tiri kuda kutoenda and hatiregi handichataura wanga kuti ndeipi, but I think those that know. So it was really, really amazing, and unfortunately, on the other side of town, at Alex Sports Club, and diskuzoti like where people maybe my fan base vanga wandira ku hippodrome here, but Chillmaster's album didn't go so, like the turnout wasn't as big. So a lot of people asking questions, Kuti, was it because maybe Vanu Wajinjo got to Hit Factory, or was it because maybe the album wasn't properly advertised? I actually saw a billboard.
Yeah.
Muna Simon Mazorodze. And I was like, dang, like there was actually a billboard and got onto Nova and all of that. And so I don't think it's an advertising issue because, you know.
I think in your marketing.
Yeah, marketing.
Yeah, there's something that most of these artists or vanima brands we're talking about this Hit Factory event. Uchingopinda pa social media.
Hit Factory.
Oh yeah.
Anditi uchingodai so munhu isarutaura nezvafeli vanhu havasi kuinvesta handizoti zvonzvo inyaya dzekuti mari here or what, but when you have decided kuti zvonizvo you want to host a show or whatever, you fanira kuinvesta more on marketing.
Yeah.
Inokubatsira zvakawanda.
I think also another thing that I've seen a lot of these events have in common is FOMO. Like that thing yakuti kana wakasatoenda ka you would have missed out. Like just yokuti vanoita kuti my events achona aita unge wakatoita miss out ka. Do you understand?
Yeah.
Kuti there's a personal touch when it comes to the marketing. Like it's not your, you know, like maybe arukubhatira my Facebook ads or my billboards or whatever, but it's personal. Like it's coming from Dobie. Shamari yako unongoziya mfesi wako achiti inini kwa Feli ka ndokwa toenda. You understand?
It's got to do with engaging the right team for the job. Yeah. Now, you see here, there are people whose names are known in the area of promoting events. If you don't deal with the names, you might not get there because you're working with less experienced people. Now, let's talk about Iju. One of the trending phrases is Hatiperi is being called the young cheapers. Because taizoktima events akapenga anorongwa ne cheapers promotions, you know, and Hatiperi
cheapers promotions ichiri
kuronga my events, and
I think
you know
ndakatombomona na Hatiperi.
Yes, that's what I wanted to get to. You see what Hatiperi does and what he did before he became a promoter. He started to follow up kuti mudhara vari kuzvifambisa sei. He learns from the great, he learns the craft, and then he comes in there, he is now a force to reckon. And then, now wadaro ukaona ukanotisa iwe uchiti ndine changu chandoda kuita Butterfly yarada kuita event yake yakapenga doita sei, imbogara pasi neteam yako woti ndiani watingatore kuti atipromotere chinhu chedu. Album nderako, you want to promote your own album, but ndiani wekuti tikaisa pa zita ripi toisa Cheapers here, toisa Hatiperi here, ndi api ma promoters kuti tikashanda nawo chinhu chedu chinogoda.
And I think I was about to say the same thing. Kuti, I think when I noticed it as well with adverts, for argument's sake, parudiwa like $1,000. But was the scope of work, oh, but I don't know furirana. But Facebook ads, no go badara $15 per week, and then per month go badara mara. I mean, no go furirana and then all of that stuff, and then they don't do it because they think kuti marketing is a waste of money. But what they don't realize, kuti my movies chayo. My blockbuster Spider-Man uyu amuri kuona uyu Spider-Man uyu munogona kushamisa kamazoti pakabuditsirwa 200 million kana 100 million chayo just marketing chete. Do you understand? Because the way I've been seeing Spider-Man everywhere, do you understand? Like everywhere. Zvinozobatsirawo kuti pane word of mouth inozongobuda yekuti vanhu sure va part of the hype. But I think first and foremost kubuditsa mari, but not just kubuditsa mari in general, but kubuditsa mari to the right people.
To the right people. Who are you giving the money to? And just a quick one, I like to say interesting things like Spider-Man Brand New Day. The marketing budget, right? Is not exactly known, but the cost of making the film was $225 million.
Yes.
Imagine.
But marketing budget, I think inozobudayo, but inenge katowanda.
Was we're using 225 million. So imagine how much we're going to put into
and
pushing
even
the
want
thing.
to ziva kuti we need to spend 100 million to make $1 billion.
Exactly.
Do you understand?
Exactly.
But a lot of people don't know that because
Because anongoti,
manje ndakabudisa 2000 manje bageti ndozoita sei vanhu vanozouya here vanhu 2000 ivavo. Do you understand? And it's just crazy. So anyway, all the best next time. Chillmaster tokuda zvekudaro. So I'm sure the album is really, really dope and all of that.
And also nyaya yekusaiza nzvimbo. And atikutaura takanangana nevanhu kana vanhu munonosimudza Alex just because Butterphly yakambozadza
mabongo.
Hatisi kuti zvonizvo zvidzikisire or what. Obviously you have to aim high and what. But pamwe pacho tarisa,
I think
timing yakakosha. And also nyaya yemadates, ndisingazive kuti akatanga kubuditsa date rake this event ndiani. Musicians or vari entertainment industry, I think munhu vanofanira kukoshesawo nyaya dzemadates kuti mumwe munhu aisawo event yake on so and so date anditi you at least chipushawo kuitira kuti mupanane chi.
I think sometimes also doing it at a restaurant, like a nice restaurant, like it's not a bore, like munaso make sure to chenyu, like budget yangona yekutongo batara,
Alex,
the big whatever. Unasita kanu kako kari cozy, kari bo, kari chi. Then you invest on getting good visuals. I'm chazo kanda, mchituzera say. Even kutara teto zoti ma album launch aitirwa either ku like kuma hotel or
Endemila Hall, showgrounds.
Ayo Endemila yatokura. But album launch kudaraka, it was just for like journalists and you get it. Kuti I mean, or maybe I'm wrong, but in this it was it was just
it's you also need to study and see where you are with your career, because sometimes we over anticipate our growth and we over justify kuti ndakura kusvika papi. I will tell you, like you're talking about a small intimate space. Ndivanani vanowanza kuitira mashow avo munzvimbo yauri kuda kuitira. Tarisa mazita pane here vezera rako vaunoti ningi vezera rangu vakamboitira imomo and they were successful. What tinogona kuita aspirations edu. I want to be the first to do this, but pamwe pacho we need to be realistic with our expectations. I didn't expect to do this. So no hate or anything to Chillmaster, but we would love it for the best of you. Talking about Kuma small intimate events, there's one that I attended, I think 2 years ago or so, Yambeu, and it was in a hotel, and then it was a small room. He handpicked van vaka inviter. Nruda ningi. I think tati Singapore 100 people. Vangavari moimo. But then the wave of the album now razu buda kunzoko nanja rakafamba. But maitiro akaita kupusha nanja chitaka event kake was small. So I'm for the idea that you were talking about, Butterfly.
Yeah, it's actually very true.
And do you remember talking about it?
No.
Akuskudara?
No, it was, we talked about it, I think.
And those are akuskudara.
Trevor don't go.
Anyway, that's too soon. That's too soon.
No,
But I hope album Richa.
No, he's really talented. I have a lot of people that follow me on social media. You understand? And ndakamboita karaoke this other joint so tavandati vanhu uyai karaoke angari mahara boys ichiitwa maharare boys beer at pump price boys it is a list boys
right
apa pa social media not oh my gosh like totally we're gonna see you there we're so excited chichichi but unotonazoverenga and unotozoona kuti majority yevanhu vanenge varimo imomoka vanhuwo vatoti kochiko chiri kuitika panapa but I remember I did that thing every Friday unoziva every Thursday unoziva ndaita anxiety Because I was like, are people going to come? Do you understand? So sometimes it's not even about how big you are or how big whatever it is. Sometimes you can be talented but not know how to market things. Like kuti au kwanze kukwezva vanhu. Ende vanhu kana vasiri kuda havadi. Pana zvauno right. But imagine we just talked about the Hit Factory which had Blot, Holy 10, same floor, Baga, Junior Spraga, same floor, Windsor, and then two Mangma surprise act. Kuti even if what I yes. But if it's the same price, you won't end up uriwo hako. Do you understand? So it's just really, really unfortunate. But it's okay. Moving on, there's a video that was circulating of Rocky. So Rocky was filmed with a sex worker. Am I reading right? Am I reading this right? Aiwa
hauna kuuningirikina
andinaini aiwa pakatarisa zvinhu zvatiri kutaura iyi ndandasina kuiona
video
andisikuda andisikuda
ona hatimborisa pascreen because
andisikuda
ona bayire urikona
oh okay I don't know no
ona kuti ndiyeka
I did no. So anyway, Rocky was filmed with wow.
Yeah, my one.
Yeah, achidonza a sex worker. Achiti maybe
wabatkana
shanda batkana sha.
Face wako zvekudara.
Yes.
Yeah, I understand. Sometimes life just happens. So the video that Butterfly was just talking about, and I'm sorry about your friend. Rocky was filmed in a sex worker. Yanga yakashama half of the body kuzasi kwacho. And sex worker aidonza Rocky rasta rake achimuti ndikuda mari yangu paine other female voices kumashure enge muri mari yacho chichiva chidedzera. And I don't think no one has the actual details yet yekuti kwakuri kupi exactly. But then Rocky did not go quiet about it. He is posting stuff related to this trending video on his own pages. So if you go to Rockford Josford's own pages, he is talking about it. And one of the posts Zaga poster was talking about Tese Tirivan Venyama. There was one post that he did like that in relation to this particular video.
Tese Tirivan Venyama saga.
Yeah, like as in
anzi chiwaga achisekani mangwana uchaita sei
unozongowagawo. All right, because we are all sinners and we need God. If any one of you has never sinned, cast the first stone. # only God can judge me.
Wait, so how do we know it's a sex work? Because zanga chitaruda mari yake.
Like ada mari ada badaro.
Okay.
Like you
but
would do that.
Akutara chokwadi kuti only God can judge me yange. Because isusu vanhu tiri kuzomhanya kuda kunoti Rocky azodai yet mamwe pacho tichitoita zvitori western.
I was about to say the same thing. I think a lot of artists, right? And I know this from personal experience. A lot of people do a lot of dark things. Not dark, but they do a lot of things. So if you found out about them, you'd be
surprised.
Disappointed and surprised and all of that.
They did that?
But one thing I know for certain is hombe inovhurwa nema-civilians. Ma-civilians ndo vanhu vasiri famous ka. Vanhu vasina ningirini. Hombe iyoyo ka inotokatyamadza kupfuura the small that people in this industry do. Do you understand?
Yeah, true.
Zvinhu zvokuti we never really find out about, or zvinhu zvokuti hatizoudzwa and all of that stuff. But I feel like vanhu vari kuvhura hombe kunzoko. And there's a lot of people that are doing a lot of things. It's not to justify that people should continue to do certain things, especially when you have grown-up kids. It's just something that you don't want your kids to be coming across or your kids being asked about or whatever. But as we look at what these people are doing, let's also bear in mind kuti chinongonoitika kune munhu wese. Pane statement inogara ichipere ichitendera pasocial media zvakanzi zvinonakidza vasiri baba wako.
Zvinonakidza vasiri mudhara wako.
Zvinonakidza vasiri sisi wako, you understand? So a lot of these times zvinonakidza kukomenta like because haasi baba wako, haasi butu wako, haasi chi. But the fact is it can happen to anyone. Like unongonongovhurwa hombe nemurume chaiye. Do you understand? Kana nemwana chaiwo wakarera iwe unongochiseka udzadzi hey mwana ninga numburiswa hey azomitiswa azita say but where you have daughters you don't know what they're going to do you don't it's by grace at the end of the day like so as much as tofana utsurana tofana ita say but let's also extend grace.
True. Taitotaura this conversation with some other colleagues the other day. Zvinhu zvatinononyora mumanewspaper wambona mama-headlines wekuti unototi zvinhu zvatinonyora mumanewspaper zvinhu zvatinoposta pamapages mablogs nechichi zvinhu izvozvo pamwe pane vari kutozvitawo isusu but just because ndisu hatina munhu anokwanisa kuita sei kunyora nezvazvo then tinobva tatanga kuda kutojaja vari kuzviita so I think also iye rokiwo pachake ivo baba pachavo ngavangovo responsible.
Because it's not the first time that we've heard such stories about him.
Kana vafunga kuita madeals avo ngavachimeka sure kuti vabhadhara kana kuti ngavachienda kune vanhu vasingazode yepepo
panyaya yekubhadhara I'd like to handisipo ende handizive zvakaitika but pfungwa dzangu ndichinzwa mama stories atakamboverenga and stuff ndakakurumidza kufunga kuti maybe it's one of those situations dzatinoziva nezvadzo where unenge watoita shenanigans dzako wotobhadhara but then the moment you realize kuti ndiroki wedzera.
All right, so it is alleged that the woman in the video is married and I think he had gone for something, right? He had gone for a creators assembly.
Yeah, he just performed earlier, yeah.
So they've actually announced that he will no longer be part of the inaugural creators assembly. Oh, sorry, creators assembly. Is this
you're talking about Limpopo Boy, yeah? Because Creators Assembly is Limpopo Boy. Limpopo Boy also has a video. You've seen the video, haven't you?
No.
I also have the video.
Why do you watch these videos? Do you know what?
I also have the video.
The reason why this is so unprofessional of me. I'm so uninformed is because kanapani nyaya dzandinotiza pa social media ndidzodzi. Unoziva ma sex tape ese akambobuda. Ese. Apana one ndikamboona.
Sadaro.
Sure.
Serious?
Kana yaningi? As a number. Ya uyu. As a number.
DJ.
Indiani futhi. Yaningi no. As a number. Panimwe ndikambona by mistake. Ndakavarero.
By mistake?
By mistake.
Sajairire.
Tisingade kujaja. Tisingade kujaja comrade vedava nditi. Unozati pane vamwe vanogona kunyepa.
Yeah.
Like team rari iro reuko kusaduko. Yeah. Kuti vanogona kutongonyepa kuti munhu uyu and
anatete anogona kuirongera iyo. Anatete anogona kuirongera iyo.
Mari yangu chichichi because I remember pane imwe area mtown yekuti zvonizvo mota yaitika ngomira chete anditi. Vatonzonizvo ane mari yangu ane chichichi vakomana vakutouya pakutoita noise.
All right. So, speaking of that story that we wanted to get into, popular South African dancer and entertainer Limpopo Boy found himself at the center of a social media storm. So it was like a very private, intimate moment. It was a video of him and a woman. It was spread online, and this was spread without his consent. So the video shows Limpopo Boy in a private setting with a woman who is married, by the way. She's actually married to Kevin Shai. Before the camera is turned towards him. So the footage contains sexually explicit material, which his management says was never authorized for public distribution. But the woman, like I said, was married, and Creators Assembly has actually announced that he will no longer be part of the inaugural Creators Assembly. And it's really, really crazy and sad. I think the same thing, I think a lot of people are and it's just unfortunate when the lodge that they're opening is on the limelight. I'm always telling people this, Kuti, a lot of men in our industry, they think, Kuti, you know, when all the women want to sleep with them, they think, oh my gosh, it's because I'm attractive, it's because like ndinrugu pizza and whatever. What they don't realize, Kuti, I think half, and I'm a statist, but a quarter of the time, ingori ungonzindarara na Dobie. Doba anotaura paredio, doba anobuda paningi. You understand? Kuti iwewe you're thinking kuti you're using these people, but they're using you. And the other thing is unopera. Do you understand? There's just something about, I don't know what it does, but it just sucks the life out of you. where you're just constantly sleeping with people, like there's a lot that comes with that whole thing. And focus, you understand? Say you're just spending it on these people, and these people are using you. Do you understand? And a lot of these artists, they don't realize that. Like avatomboji realize that both pisa ndakaita say worse kana munhu ari akakura achinzanzi anezimuno or anezimsoro or aneziningi achisekwa zvazvo asina kana baby kana one. Do you understand? Anozopedzera shungu and they want to compensate, but a lot of the time it just derails you. Do you understand? And vakuru vaitoti hanzi madress anopedza one. Like zvakagara zvingotaurwa kubva kudhara one.
Yeah, ndakaona futi even kusport kune vanhu vanenge vachitopisa
yes
vakomana vebhora chichi vanenge vachingodanana nevasikana vese
yes
vachingoita sei vamwe vacho vasikana vanenge vakatokutageta wakambona munhu wekuti zvinizvo anototaura kuti ininika ndikutoda uyu munhu anenge achipisa pacertain club kuti uyu ndikutoda then the next thing munhu yoya performance yake
zvatodawa vanenge vakatokutarget. And now in a conspiracy way hautozivi kuti dzimwe nguva unogona kungotumirwa baby vanenge vakutadza any other way vati uyu zvemadrugs zvaramba zvechii zvaramba okutumira baby and unotopedzwa. Speaking of football, magorogoto Ronaldo zviita kani baby congratulations to Cristiano Ronaldo. So Ronaldo and his longtime partner, Georgina Rodriguez, they married Tuesday. On Tuesday. Yeah. So in a ceremony in the Portuguese resort, and it's just so nice. After yangu. Kana pamba ne marriage yakamirirwa pano pasi. Ayo. Ya Cristiano Ronaldo yakamirirwa. Mkazi anausekwa here mkazi uyu. Asi wona nhasi.
Amai vake vanausekwa here mkazi uyu.
Mwana uyu haana kusekerwa amai vake here uyu. Uyu mwana uyu haana kunzi wakapitiswa urungoitiswa vana here mkazi uyu. Asi nhasi wona ndiye akupururudza nenyika yese.
Akainamatira nyaya iyi.
Akainamatira nyaya. Iyoyi.
Muri kuzviona here kuti gore rinori gore remichato? Muri kuzviona here kuti gore remichato? Takambotanga tiri pa local base, tapa international.
Unoziya inchandofarira. This happened on Tuesday. Can you just confirm with me? It wasn't Nansuda, dzimwe nguva nomboraska. Because ndakaiona nyaya yachona nezuro. It was this Tuesday, right? Yatabva kubude. Right? Shamwari yangu Tale. Talent madungwe. Akazvitaura. Talent akati paheroes papapa. Itai something.
Vakatozviita paheroes kabhozi 11 August ndoenge heroes.
Yes.
Muso heroes wacho iyoyo.
Bozi Tale akati zvoni ndonguva yachona iyoyo.
Yes, zvakaitika nezuro.
Uya nedrama.
Zvakaitika. Tale akazvireva. Ndakataura naTale pano ndakati Tale uri kureva kuti china iwe talent madungu. Zvanzi ndati vanhu ngavawanane munguva iyoyo.
Heroes.
Ndatopedza nemiso. So congratulations to Cristiano Ronaldo. We're happy for you, my guy.
I think zvavakaita izvi. Inini ndogona kuzvifarira.
Yeah.
Kuti nemunhu wangu handiti tozonyatsochata formalize.
Makuziya.
Yes. Chakuzivana.
But it takes a lot of patience. Because unoziva kuti usadherere kuti iwe unogona kusvorwa mumba menyu ghost lady. Vanenge vari hamadzi kwababa hamadzi kwamai. But collectively vanhu 20. Do you understand? Cristiano Ronaldo. Imagine kuti pasi rose angari munyaya yake. Do you understand? So I think as a woman, I think it took a lot of character, like a lot of reassurance. Kuti angoziva kuti alright, mwangu. Do you understand? But it's not easy. Kuti test yoiga vakawanda vagonofoira.
Oh, but I think zvitori better or zvitori normal kuti tozoita izvozvo maybe after 5 years. After 5 years tobva tachata, after kana 10 years tobva tachata. Than vanhu vari kuti vadanana vororana vobva vachata after 3 months.
So Carlos Meets, who took Chiwombe in after rehabilitation and gave him an opportunity to work at his farm, recently posted on Facebook revealing that Chiwombe had returned to the streets. So he said, to quote, "Good evening, family. Pana Chiwombe, I failed. Ini akadzokera futi ku street. Tikamuona, please, let's just give him all the love and understanding. Inini hangu ndogonongenda tadza asi Mwari vanomugona." That's what he had to say. So it then raises a bigger conversation about drug addiction and recovery. When someone returns to the streets after rehabilitation, have they failed or have we failed to support them? Because inini I've had dine iron deficiency, right?
Okay.
Yes, like, but it undiagnosed.
Oh, yeah.
I don't deny, but do ignore because I'm like,
you have
I'm not
seen
about.
you have seen.
So when I then have children, like when I get pregnant or whatever, and it always goes, pakato shata because until dopanotorwa like your blood, bachi wona by hemoglobin. I don't know the scientific terms, but they actually can assess auto goods out you are anemic or whatever, right? So ichinja ndotozia, but ichinja ndoita I try not to like
concentrate on that much.
So what happens when you have iron deficiency is really weird. Like you get my weird cravings. Do you understand?
Okay.
So I won't say what it is because this is not the platform for it. But I had my weird cravings. This is harmful to my health. Do you understand? Chaguti, like you'd crave it so much, and chita say what right mama, you get what I mean. But the next thing, one opportunity, get back. Do you understand what I mean?
Yeah.
So there's a part of me that understands the recovery and addiction and whatever. Maybe in to simplify because maybe it's not that deep compared to drugs and all of that. But one thing I know is panoda follow through. Do you understand?
Yeah.
And a lot of people might not have time, especially Carlos Meets, he runs a business, runs a church. He's a very busy man.
Yeah.
So he might not have time to have that follow through. Kuti muni I have not get back to the things that like where he was when he got addicted. Do you understand?
Yeah.
I think it's the same thing with alcohol. Kuti munu kana jaira kuti ndakangodya nyama yakagochwa. Can I jaira that that thing yekuti akadya nyama yakagocha akutomwa doro? Do you understand? Like for you to then break that cycle, it's very hard. Kuti wakudya nyama yakagocha paipa wakufana kumwa mvura. You get it? Or pana umwana wokutoti akatongomwa doro akutoda kutoita sex. Do you understand? Because it's something that they've programmed themselves to do.
Yeah.
So this guy, when he then goes back home, angozoti kana akadzokera kumba kana akaboy kana akupinda mu streets or akuita say whatever, and then kana wa mu streets you're hanging out with fellow druggies or you're hanging out with fellow people that you used to do drugs with. What's going to happen? You smell that whatever that you smell, and sometimes you're not strong enough to be able to resist and all of that stuff. So I feel like there's a lot that goes into helping someone. Not to say Carlos Meets didn't help. He did an incredible job.
Yeah,
but
true.
it also falls on the part of the person who had the addiction. Could they have to want to, like, they want it is serious, like fight. They have to fight. No, man, and and a change of environment.
Yeah, I think it all comes back to my personal choices.
Yeah.
It's all about choices.
Yeah.
So you can actually decide
It's not as easy as that. Besides drugs, talking about the issue of living on the streets, speaking from experience, I found it difficult being integrated back into my usual society after returning from the streets.
You lived in the streets?
Yeah, I lived in the streets of Harare. I was in grade 6.
You're not making this up.
I'm not making this up. Wow. So I remember it's not easy because there is a lot of so pane vanhu vanogona kukumiririra nditi vanenge vanogona kuchange, like Carlos Meets was there for Chiwombe, but kune vamwe vari around you vanogona kuita kuti ufile kuti this is not worth it continuing with what I'm doing. Zvandaitoita uku zvazviri nani. I have 2 incidences from my time that I strongly remember, that I vividly remember. Ndipa pressure yekuti I think it's better if I go back where I was. One of those was ndichidzokera kuchikoro. Ndakaita time yakawanda yekuti my classmates would say, and stuff, and it was not easy for me to accept. Then the worst incident happened when I was now in grade 7. Vanga vari teacher vangu then vakadedzera mazita ma-noisemakers. Quite talkative from a young age, so I would speak a lot. I would always appear pazita rema-noisemakers. And then pakutiro, I think we were about 4 of us, or tasina kuwanda. Pakurowa, vanhu vakamira kiwa was at the end. And then she would beat vanga vari pamberi pangu mumaoko. I think that's sham 3, 3, 4, 4, I can't remember. And then when I got to her, vavasimudza shamu yavo. Ndakaisa ruoko. Shama inakuya paruoko. She started beating me randomly. That was not the painful part. Chamizo ndakadzinzwa but masoko avakaperekedza neshamu nanhasi I still hear them ringing in my. She said, "Go back to the streets." I remember she said she was an old lady. Vanga vatokura vatogogo vatozerera gogo. But when she said it got to me, I felt convinced I don't belong here. I need to go back to the streets, like she said. So outside nyaya pane zvinozotanga kuitika mumusoro memunhu wondodzaona rusadze kuti you can make a decision yekuti I don't want to do this anymore. Wototi ndatoregedza. But then there are other things zviri outside your decision that could then push you in a situation yekuti unopedzisira wadzokera. And also talking about the time yagara Chihombe in a Carlos Smith and stuff. This is not in the books or anything. It's something that I made up thinking. I call it the slave to kingship transition. So this transition is something that needs to be treated with carefully. You know why? If you take a slave and put him on the throne right away, they are going to mess up their privilege. Trust me. So ndikatora munhu, you have to earn it. You have to earn it. So with Chihombe's situation, I wouldn't know zvakafamba sei handiti, but it was an easy transition for him. Atongo buda streets madrugs and stuff. Vatongo yenda ku rehab and then atopedza ipapo. He has a life akuto yenda kubasa and stuff chichi akutopia zvino. Pani system yatinofana kugadzira because chinoitika nje kuti isusu society tinova disadvantage avanawo vari kufanira kuita grow gradually handiti nekuti tavanzwira tsitsi tiri kuti ngativa tavapampa ine zvinhu but kuvapampa ikokoko kunogona kuvakuwadza futi because they don't feel the work that they put in for them to earn the life that they now live. So if you know a caterpillar goes into a cocoon. Yes. And then it metamorphosizes and then it becomes a butterfly. A butterfly, yes. So that process, it's a very painful process. Especially painozotanga kuita like the wings get out of the cocoon. Painengeda ku break out. So if you help the butterfly during that process, what unonzwa tsitsi because inenge struggler. So if you help the butterfly during that process, it's not going to have the capacity to fly or the capacity to have like the wings are not going to be strong and all that because anga chifana kuti was strengthened through the process of breaking out. And, do you understand? So again, not to say Guti maybe the situation was handled differently or whatever, but sometimes we do things from our heart, and our heart will tell us the immediate thing is give this person everything that they can. Make so sure they're well catered for. Do you understand? So not to say Guti that was the situation. Well, I would say that was the situation. It was the situation. Ndo zvatakaita and atina kuzvingozviita pana Chihombe chete. Vanhu vakawanda vanopinda mu situation ndo zvatinovaita. Tinokurumidza kuvabudisa kuti ari kutsvambudisa moto muise up. But and this was like I don't have the right formula now yekuti tingavabatsira sei. But I would like to say that is also part of the problem. Yekubatsira moyo wedu wakanaka iwoyoyo. Pane shona inozoti nyamunatsi ndiye nyamutsigwa nebonda. When we do good zvakanaka tisina kunyatso kutarisa kuti good yedu tiri kuita sei. Zvinopesera zvatitsitsira at the end of the day. Vanhu vaiva vatarera nemukaka ndo vanozoita nge imbwa yakudzoka ichitiruma. Not because they want to do that, but because we skipped some parts of the process. Yeah. Okay. Woo. On that note, thank you so much for watching. Dobie and I were matching today.
I think we should get photos.
Yeah, we should.
Yeah,
we should. We should talk to Nigel.
we should
talk to Nigel.
Ghost Lady is not going to be part of the photo because she's wearing green
Not
and
today.
pink.
Not today.
Nigel, I got pick a grey and yellow.
No, Nigel is the cameraman, so I'm not worried about it.
But we should be together on the realm.
I'm kindly asking for an opportunity before we go.
To say shout out?
To just give a few shout outs to Vanhu Varundipinza busy na madam wangu paden.
But your madam, guy.
My wife is mad. She was like, Babani. I can say my
wife service side this week.
No, like I said my wife. I'm mining. Like starting one she's like Babani.
Dobie,
I have a family. I have a
problem.
family and 2 kids.
Problem.
Yeah, I think
Problem
Do you know what I struggle? Do you know when you talked about Paninya Tara? Yeah, like on the street.
Being on the streets, yes.
Yeah. There's a part of me that then doesn't realize, Kuti, like, is it the truth? Or is he just messing with me? Or he's trying to, like, say a story so that it can relate to whatever it is that we're talking about. Do you understand? Because when I have a podcast, I was by radio. I radio, you get it. But when I have a podcast, I wonder,
I know. In I have a family. I have wife and 2 kids.
Serious?
And I live with them. No, nyaya yakatoseka yakatomunakidza chinhu chaari made about with the comments mira nditsvage comment yacho ndakaita sei because ndakazoresponda necomment zvikanzi wamuresponderei ipapo ndikaiwana ndokudzai. But in the moment chitsvaga comment, I want to say shout out to Olivia Hove. Thank you so much for the comments. Melody Chipunza akatiomberera maoko kamelody zvikanzi matwins edu Bata na Mr. Dobie vakapedza show yavo last week vasina kumboita argument
even nice food
andede wakukura manje
ayo ndine trauma pane zvinhu zvandakakuseka last time and then you just stared at me ndakanyara all right who else?
Mercedes and then Welikaonza. Shout out to my guy. Hanzi yakufanira ungonzi Dobie Fly.
Oh, okay.
Andizoziva kuti munhu wamwari anozvitendera here.
Dobie Fly.
Philip Mapia, shout out. Hanzi Philip Mapia anofarira Shelley.
Oh.
Angoiseri comment inini inofarira
Shedza.
Melo Singwenya, thank you for the... We like when you have addictions like this. We like. Melo Singwenya says, I'm getting addicted to you guys. Shout out. These are the good addictions to have.
All right. Pana azotinyorera bhuku.
Aikona.
Ruvaneli.
Aikona.
Hanzi Daily Therapy. I watch your shows every day. I wish one day I could come and co-host too, Kwaola 7. Please tell me why. Ndichigona ma intro ese. Kubva kuna mai Musanu. Kwaola kwacho. Nekwa Butterfly. Kozoti kwa Dobie. Na Miss Shelley. I always look forward to new trending stories. I'm your biggest fan, Kunoku Mashingo. Hey.
We're sending love to Mashingo. We're sending love to Mashingo.
Anzi izwa inza. Ndavanda kukata kasha ndatsurwa. Hanzi Butterfly, most of the time you cut Shelley before she finishes talking to clarify on that. Hanzi, please give each other chances. Antika expressing your minds without cutting each other off. Antika, ndashinzwa fati. Sorry.
Mirai, and also pana Gloria. Gloria Chipo Kandai. Nasi birthday rake.
Oh. Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday.
I want it.
Yeah. Do it again. Do it again.
Anzi Chigo.
That's why you want to comment here.
She get any choice. Butterfly is a vibe. Please. Don't be giving credit where it's not due. Give credit to my mother. All right.
Comment yangu ndazoiwana. Ruth Sebia wadiago. Hanzi na Ruth Sebia. I love Dobie.
Oh.
And then Visa 3 months. Vazoti and the ladies too. Vaguseka Visa 1 card. Vandati, thank you, Ruth. Sending love to you too. No, like I was as a fan because I thought Ruth Sebia is my fan. Like,
no, do you know how you said it? Yeah. Like, thank you, Ruth. Oh, sending love to you too. That's how you said it.
Sending love.
And that's why your wife was disappointed. Auntie, thank you to my favorite Shelley. Mariwa wedzere wisdom kwauri mega love. But not for Shelley wisdom today. The melody she puts.
zvakaoma. All right, hi to Hamzan Trust Gushirin, Patience Nyeketa, and John Moyo.
Ishaniso Agnes Manjoro, Constance Koni Mtambani Shiri, Melody Chipunza, as well as Free Saint.
Anzina Brennan, I never miss an episode straight from Cape Town. Dogu Farirai and Dogu Disisai Munonditra. I play you Ndichishanda every week. Thank you, Ghost Lady. Thank you, Butterfly Saru. We are Zias Tarangu. Anzi Saru, wedu Mama Beni, Mama Benwa, na Baba wedu.
How you gonna
My name is Brenda. Brenda Matiga, straight out of Cape Town. Thank you so much.
Big shout. Tando Melody, comment yako ndo dziri kunditukisa umba. Yakanze voice raded mawan, ndinoita kunyunguduka chaiko.
Guys, do you know what? This is actually really beautiful.
Tell me about it.
Like, I've never actually gone to, like, through the YouTube comments. Because I always stream on Facebook, right?
Yeah. I do YouTube and I respond.
Facebook.
I do YouTube. YouTube is kind.
YouTube is kind. YouTube is kind. Wow. And it's constructive.
Yes.
You get it. Like, it's not like Banwarungo Kufarira because Warungo. Alright. Takwen. Bye-bye. Anyway, we'll see you again next week. Please make sure that you tune in.
Sorry.
Alright. Anyway, we love you. Thank you. Bye.